Hello, everybody. Welcome back. 15 good minutes. Coach B here. We haven't been together for a minute. Good to see the fellas back. Freddie, what's up, my man?
How you guys doing?
I'm doing good, man. LB, how you doing?
I'm good, brother.
Charles, how are you, sir?
I am wonderful, wonderfully excellent.
There we go.
A little concerned there with the first wonderful, but good to see you. If I look slightly distracted, it's only because I got Michigan State on the screen right next to
Yes.
y'all. So it's halftime right now. They are putting it on Kentucky, but it's early.
Yes.
It's early. I've never seen Michigan State make this many threes.
Neither
They
have
don't-
they.
Right, exactly. But you don't question it. You don't question. You plant in the garden. You get in, you get out, you be gone. So hopefully they can finish it out. Um, got an interesting topic today I want to talk to you guys about because each one of you, uh, does something different in terms of where you are in your stage of life. Full-time government employee. You got Charles that's a retiree but a contractor. And you got LB who's fully retired, and then you got me. I'm somewhat of a hybrid. I just kind of do all kinds of different things, and I'm interested in your take on AI um, from a user perspective or a consumer perspective. AI is a very, very broad term. Um, I can tell you the first time I was introduced to it was years ago when D's son was here for Christmas or something. We went out to dinner, and he's a programmer, and he was showing me this program called Chat GPT, where it was helping him write code, and he would say something in computer lingo, and then all the steps would come up, and I thought, man, that's pretty deep. So you fast forward now, latter part of 2025, AI impacts all of us at some level. What I want to kind of unpack tonight is how comfortable you are with it, you use it or don't use it. Is this Terminator where the machines are coming to take over? All of that, I've got some interesting thoughts. So I'm gonna start with you, LB. What do you know about AI? Uh, do you use it at all today, and what are your overall thoughts on it?
All right. I'll start with one. I try not to use it. I purposely try to avoid it. I have used it. I had to write a speech for a funeral a few months ago, and I was, at a loss for how to say what I wanted to say. And Rodney suggested that I try ChatGPT, and I did, and I was like, oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So it gave me a lot of it gave me a lot of data of which I could pick and choose. And no, I don't like it this way. It gave me the bones of a speech, and then I was able to manipulate it enough to put it into a way I would have said it. As I say, in my words. So it was helpful. I can see why people use it and think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. But to your point, the reason I don't use it because I see it. I do see it as a slippery slope. I see it as the machine's taking over. I mean, as stupid as that may sound to some, I just see so much stuff, and I even try to stay off of the social media stuff as much now, just because of all the stuff that you see that's IA generated, and you don't. Sometimes it's hard to discern what's real and what's programmed and what's fake. And like I say, I try to avoid it, but I do see the benefits of it if used in the proper context.
That's fair. That's fair. Freddie, you use AI at all, and if so, how?
I use it. I'm not one of those people who just everything is AI. I like it. Like if you download, the new iOS, it's like 26 point whatever. And, like if you have, you know, so many messages in a particular group chat, it will just give you, a basis of what are the key
Summary.
points. I think that's kind of funny,
Hmm.
but I think that's crazy because it's now someone taking, responses by several different people and putting it into a simplified script. And I think everything is not meant to be simplified. I'm sorry. I just don't think, so I don't use it as much as probably the younger generation would use it. And I think they're stupid because no, I'm serious. I think they're
They
stupid
can't think now. Yeah.
because it's going to take their jobs away. right? So, but I do use it. I was looking up some information about writing an interest letter or whatever, and I got some good information just yesterday. Just as a foundation, as similar to what LB was saying, and then okay, got the structure and everything, and it was some good information. But I use my own words and things like that or what have you. But I don't because I really try to avoid it, with certain things because all it's doing is taking away opportunities from people and making, the software developers, the owners, those billionaires, is making them richer, right? And so next thing you know, they're gonna have AI to do open heart surgery, or AI to do a colonoscopy, or whatever the case, whatever the situation is, as opposed to using, like, if you can, use AI to find a cure for all cancers or AIDS, HIV, things like that. That would be phenomenal. But we're using it to kind of, oh, I don't want to pay a person to do this. I'd much rather buy the software and the licenses and then just do that. So I try not to, use it as much, but it is helpful.
Yeah, you mentioned one of the points. I was calling a couple of people today just to kind of get their take on it. And I talked to Vern, and he was concerned about young people specifically. And he said that, you find them using them, and he's saying this, I'm reading from a text that he said, young adults asking how to set up a first date or how to plan a road trip, things that he learned from people in his life. You talk to your parents or your best friend or somebody for that first date. You need to have that, but they're literally going, to this now and saying, "Tell me how to do it." And there are commercials if you're watching them. There's a Chat GPT commercial where some dude made a recipe, girlfriend taste it, and they see what it's like, and then they show the scroll of the Chat GPT telling you everything that it told him to do. So, you know, part of the fun to me of that is the creativity, but like LB, I probably date myself. Speaking of old people dating themselves, Charles, how do you feel about AI from your generation's perspective? Are you embracing it, or are you somewhat cautious with it?
No, I mean, I use it. I use Quillbot, right? I'm a horrible writer, right? For me, it was one of the best things came out. It helps me with my writing, right? Definitely improves my sentence structure. I use Gemini. I've used Copilot. Uh, I got people on my team that can't write code, and they use AI to write code for. It was an inventory program. We lost our ticketing way of how to ticket for inventory. One of my leads out there, he went on AI. I think he chat GPT, and he ended up writing a whole program, right, to mimic what we lost in our ticketing system. Now, obviously, even if you don't have any kind of experience in doing that, you still have to have the logical mind, right, to know what to ask, right? Because those AIs, they're only going to do what you tell them or ask them to do, right? They're going to give you probably some suggestions too, right? But when you starting about writing code and stuff like that, you got to have at least some kind of logical mind to do that, right? And then, if you probably still, and you probably maybe use it every day in your house if you have like Alexa. Alexa's AI, right? I have Alexas all over my house, right? And so I like it, but I do understand that you need to be cautious with it. I don't think we hit the Terminator part yet.
It's coming.
but,
It's coming. Yeah.
but I'm trying to say is that you definitely it's definitely it can be it, you can be scary. It can be very scary. It can be very scary depending how you want to use this thing in the future. I know Freddie mentioned about, medical, right? Do a doctor really need to go through all the medical school? He just maybe need the basics and then have jet chat, then have the AI walk him through the surgery, right? instead of instead of him actually having the practical application or the experience in doing that. Medical school is like 10 years, right? Now, they could cut down medical school, 4 years, right? Which would be very bad for us, I think, right? So, yeah, I mean, I'm cautious, but I do use it a lot. And Rusty's seen it. We build our fantasy football league website using AI, right? And obviously, because a lot of code we didn't know how to write, and we had to ask it about some code to write for our website, and it actually helped us out a lot. And I think the website came out pretty good.
So an example that you gave about the ticketing system, does that not actually speak to what Freddie was just saying? And so
I mean,
my first question
it
is,
does. It
if
does.
it did what you needed to do, why do I need the person that you talked about?
Right. You still need the person. Okay. You still need to have the idea. You still need to have the idea. You got to have the idea,
okay.
Right?
Today,
so somebody still got to come up with the idea, and he came up with the idea, right? And then he had to logically ask the right questions.
Well, let me to that point though, and this is why I say I kind of think LB's on to something.
I'm not saying he's not.
A lot of the AI today, at least in my world, is called it's called text to prompt, right? So I have to say,
right.
I want this, I want that. The most recent version now, and I'm coming from a creative perspective, right? So for the YouTube videos that I do, photography, etc., AI is really big in this community. Now I'll write a prompt that says, for example, I want to remove this tree from the shot, whatever. There's a button that I can click that says, let us enhance your prompt.
Yes.
Man, it comes up with a paragraph that is much more eloquent than my thought. So my question goes back to you. If you're the person working for you basically says, I need a program to help me with tickets, now the AI has already learned.
He learned it.
I
exactly.
can ask the question better than you.
I agree. I mean, I do.
At what point do we start trading people?
Well, Rusty, you brought up a really good point there. All right. When I'm doing my writing, right, one of the programs that I use, it can put it in different types of, you want to be fluent, right? You want it to be standard, right? If I write something and I'm saying, oh, it looks pretty good, I can just highlight it. It'll come up and say, do you want me to improve it? And then it'll do it. It'll come up and
exactly.
That's it, right? So yeah, I mean, you all got a good point, right? I mean, obviously, AI it could absolutely, and it's already doing that. Absolutely, get rid of people, having people in places in the future, right? But for right now, I still think you still need a person to make AI work. I think successfully. I don't think you could go. I don't think you can run a company and have complete AI, right?
Today.
No, you won't. But you'll have probably get rid of 80% of them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say 80%.
People.
I'm not going to say 80%.
You're only going to need a few people to build the scripts, right?
Bingo.
You're going to need so to LB's point, you're going to get rid of 80%, and I'm going to keep 10 behind, 20% behind to build the scripts to,
dust the machines off, make sure the AC is on, make sure the machines are comfortable. The room is cool enough to keep them comfortable, keep the machines running top notch. Quick point. My daughter is in college and she's an accounting major. And we were talking the other day. And I told her, I said, you might need to change your major because you numbers, it's just numbers. I mean, I hate to put it down, as simple as that, but it's numbers. You got a computer in your phone that can do more than we could in college back in the 90s and 80s. So, I told her, you're going to be out of a job. By the time you graduate, you're going to be out of a job. You need to think of something else that a machine cannot do, that a machine cannot take away from you. you might need to go back and be an electrician or a plumber. Or I kid you,
Yeah.
machine right
Yeah.
now. Well, right now, those are the safe areas where you can actually still make a good living,
Right.
and not have to worry about the machine taking your job right now. Anything
Right.
else that's using your mind, oh, you can miss me with that. This taking your
And the
job.
thing
It's
is,
coming
I
for
mean,
you.
to your point, LB, so first let me say this. I'm of the mindset that all of us, especially those of us that are older, if you don't embrace it, you need to be extremely smart on it. In other words,
Mhm.
read up on it, take a
Yeah.
couple of CBTs. I've taken some classes. I need to understand what it is,
Mhm.
because it's going to be more and more prevalent. It's not going away. And then I think I use it, but I still have some reservations about it. I mean, just on this show alone, I produce a couple of these YouTube shows, and it used to take me a significant amount of time to generate the thumbnail that goes on YouTube. And for us to get
Mhm.
the views and the audience we do, everything is all about the thumbnail. Well, for the last 6 months, I've been using AI to generate our thumbnails, and our viewership has gone up. What I used to have to do once we record, I'd have to myself just comb the internet trying to find an image. The
Mhm.
last time I used a real image was when LB went to Pinehurst, and I asked him, "Hey, you got any pictures?" He sent me a link. I grabbed it and used that for the thumbnail. But from a production point of view, I find it quite helpful. It'll generate cartoon people for me or real
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
That episode we did about, I wasn't going to say about Charles, but the one, where you wear the wrong stuff all the time.
Right.
That looks like real people. It's 100% AI generated, but it really helps me get that done. On the flip side of it, though, I worry about things like, to LB's point, like colleges. If I'm a professor, how do I know you ain't turning in some AI generated work? How do I
Mhm.
do that? I can tell you that George Mason, and I guess other schools too, they now have a department that, for lack of a
Plagiarize.
better term, is
Mhm.
checking out the submittals. So in other words,
Yep.
like, if I got to turn a paper in to LB,
Right.
I have to submit it. Back in my day, it was called Blackboard. That was the online system.
Mhm.
It's something similar to that. As it goes through, before it gets to Professor LB, it goes through some channel, and they are running algorithms against it to check it. But here's the point: they're using AI to check
AI
to
Yeah.
to
see.
check if AI. Yep.
Checking AI. Yeah. Using AI.
Exactly.
And then LB talked about finding a career that's still going to leverage you in photography. Product photographers are already out of business. They already are,
Right.
because I can go in just right now and tell this computer, generate me a basket of fruit, and I can tell it the fruit, and it's beautiful, and I'm
Yes.
done. I didn't have to hire Charles, didn't have to bring anybody in, I didn't have to
Yes.
none of that. So in the photography world, people are shifting to things like events. AI
Mhm.
can't shoot a wedding, for example, right? AI
Right.
can't do, certain things. But in my specialty, AI is now generating models, right?
Right.
There's a guy who's just a really good photographer. Name is Pete McKinnon, really famous dude, and he did a YouTube thing a couple weeks ago where he was upset because Pete planned this bucket list shot out, and it was amazing. Waiting for an airplane to pass before the sun at a particular time of day, etc. The travel, the money, the shot, all of that. Beautiful shot. As soon as he took it, 80% of the people said, "Oh, that's AI." So now there's that thing. He took
Right.
such a beautiful image that people are so numb to it. No, 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 that can't be real.
Right. It's fake. Yeah.
That's fake. And so now I got a guy who's a top-notch photographer has to justify what what are we doing, that to me is an unacceptable trade-off. And I think, like anything else, LB, there's pros and cons, and I think the awareness, to me, is the key. I polled another guy, good friend of mine. He's a high-tech dude. I think he's a little older than Freddie, but not as old as us. Um, he said he uses AI at least 10 times a day. I didn't notice until the day he pays for a version of Gemini that is not the free version.
Right.
And
Right.
if you
Right.
look at some of the commercials, like there's a commercial out right now, you talked about Alexa, Charles. where they got Pete Davidson, and he's not saying Alexa play the song. He is having a conversation.
Yes.
They
Right.
have one with Lil Wayne. He is having a conversation. So to Freddie's point, the iOS used to be, hey Siri, map this or whatever. See, she don't do it because I got it turned off on mine. But now they will have a two-way conversation. I watched a photographer yesterday. I can't make this up. Do a YouTube video where he interviewed AI about AI.
Wow.
Like, and so half the screen was just a bubble doing like this, but
Mm-hmm.
it was the AI. So I do fear a part of me, and not a conspiracy kind of thing, LB, but I think Terminator is coming. I don't know if it's in our lifetime, but it
Hope
is
not.
learning so fast. When I use it, like I say in photography, after I tell it to do one thing 2 or 3 times, it now knows me. Well, I
Mm-hmm.
can say I want it, and it automatically knows because orange trees are my thing. If I have to substitute something ugly, if you look at my shots, you'll see an orange. It will put the orange tree in. And I'll be like, well, shit, I didn't ask you to put it in, but it looks really good. And I keep moving. So
Mm-hmm.
um I don't have the right answer. I mean, you go from people like my buddy in Virginia Beach who uses it 10 times a day and is paying, he said $20 a month for the high-end version of Gemini. The
Mm-hmm.
tool that I use for our stuff is called Nano Banana, which is a Google-based product. And to Charles's point, there's at least 7 or 8 different AI platforms out there. Again, for me, if I think the tough spot, and I said college is LB, but it could be a middle schooler.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
at the middle school level is checking to make sure that the student didn't use some form of AI
Right.
to
Right.
write the term paper?
Well,
Mm-hmm.
homework. How about homework? I mean, homework
Yeah.
is
Well,
literally
well, I think the LB's point about math, you can have it do your math homework, but at some point you got to sit your ass in this classroom, and I'm gonna
Right.
put it in
And
front of you.
come up on the board. Let me see you write
Right,
up on the
but,
board.
because
guys,
how it was in my
you
day,
guys
you had to
know
show
right
your
now.
work.
Yeah.
But you
That's
know
how
right
you work.
now,
Yeah.
they allow. Remember when we used to go to school, you had to do everything out of your head. You had to write it down on
Right.
paper.
Yep.
So
Yep.
they allow calculators. I mean, they have.
But
Right.
here's the
Yeah.
thing. Let me say this, Charles. I went to college as an adult
Mhm.
after the Air Force, and when I started taking math, they said that, oh, you get to use a calculator. I'm like, great. I still struggled.
Yes,
You
yes.
you have to know the formulas.
To
The
put in the
calculator.
calculator. Right.
But
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say, but with a smartphone, you don't need to know it.
Correct, but do you take a smartphone with you to your exam?
Yeah, and like I said, is that they're giving you so much more leeway now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got a friend of mine, right, and her daughter, right, pretty smart young lady, but they allow them to use their cell phones for everything, for projects, for class, for tests.
That's a hell of a
Everything, right?
dependency, man.
It is
Yeah.
it's a heck of a dependency, and I'm
At
saying,
such a young age.
yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying to her, hey, take that away from your daughter, right? Make her actually learn what, she's a smart girl. So make her learn what is actually being taught in class, right? Instead of depending on that cell
I think it's a new day, man.
phone. It is.
I think it's a new day. I think AI is impacting us in ways that we haven't even scratched the surface on here in this 15 minutes. And I would just say, I'm curious to see what the audience members think. I don't think you should be afraid of it. And I was initially. That's what made me think, okay, I have to try to understand it.
Sure.
I have to understand. I don't have to use it like that, but I really need to know what it's doing. That's what I would encourage more people to do. So interesting topic. I think we'll see more of it, as time goes on. So that was an interesting one. Thanks for that. Before we tap out, let me see what the fellas have to say. Charles, what you got to say, buddy?
This weather is crazy, right? It's cold, and then it's warm, right? And then it's cold again, right? I
Don't get faked out by the warm days, man.
I'm not just saying, and that's the thing. I don't want to get faked out by the warm days, right? Because simple fact is, I mean, we absolutely do have global warming. Because I remember when I was a kid, right, and living in Chicago, they used to actually have 4 seasons, right? And Chicago had their first snow in like 5 years, right, last week. right? Normally, they hadn't been getting snow at all in Chicago, right? And I remember getting 22 inches of snow, right, in Chicago, right? And it just global warming exists.
Fair enough. Freddie, how about you, buddy? What you got to say today?
I think Charles is telling the wrong people that. I think, but no, I don't have anything.
LB, what's up, man? What you got to say today?
Today I went to my niece plays for St. Francis University up in Pennsylvania, out by Pittsburgh, out that direction. I went out there today to see her play. It was my first time going to one of her college games. And I got a little emotional today. When I got there, I don't know if all schools do this, but they had a game day program. And they had my niece on the cover.
Look at you.
Man. Very nice.
Dude,
you weren't ready for that, huh?
No, dude, I sat in the stands and cried. I mean, that's how.
That's awesome, man.
I can't tell you how it made me feel.
Yeah, how proud you.
Yeah, man. And my brother, those of you who don't know, my brother passed 2 years ago. So I'm sorry, but
don't be sorry. Ain't nothing wrong with that, man.
That's all right.
That's what's up.
Yeah, man. It warmed my heart, man. I'm just very happy. I'm very proud of her, and I'm sorry my brother didn't get to see it. He worked with her on the AAU games, taking her practice.
Travel.
Travel. Out in the playground, just him or her shooting to get her to this point that she could get a full ride to college. And she's the only, I didn't know this until today too, she's the only freshman on the team. The only freshman on the team, dude.
That's not an accident, man.
Yeah, man. So I can say I was just happy and proud. Yeah, that's my.
Yeah.
Let me. Yeah,
that's
here's the thing, LB.
Right, ain't it? That's a frame moment right there, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I guarantee you, she was just as happy to see you there. It's critically important. We talk about that a lot. Just having that support system is huge. So congratulations to you. Congratulations to her. Job well done, man. That's what life is all about. Couldn't be happier for you in the things that you experienced today. All right. Well done. Well done. All right, folks, we're about out of here. Hope you have a good weekend. We will get with you guys next week. As always, thanks for following the podcast. We enjoy having you guys here. We'll see you next week.